everybody, I am Kayla Means with Kayla Means Photography, coming to give you guys a quick video on how I use the new Elements preset collection from the Tribe Red Leaf. So I want you guys to go ahead and follow me along, okay? So what I'm going to do first is I already have my presets uploaded onto my Lightroom, okay? What's nice is when you download your presets, you get a little guide that shows you guys how to upload them. It's pretty simple. So as you can tell on the left side of my screen, I have my Tribe Red Leaf Element Collection. And today I'm going to be focusing on Element Water. I am mainly a wedding photographer. So I love shooting tons of greens and blues, and so I found out of all of these, Element Water is probably one of my favorite ones to shoot weddings with. So I'm going to show you guys how I do a quick edit of a couple of photos, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to color correct my image first. So what I mean by that is I'm going to kind of pick out the parts of the photo where I can see that maybe I need to color correct before I throw on my preset. So for me, I love to I like to underexpose when I shoot. So this one is a little bright for my liking. You can tell by the histogram up here that my highlights are a little intense, and that's okay. So I'm going to come down to the exposure, and I'm just going to move it towards the left. And as you can see, my histogram becomes a little more even with the kind of the highlight to shadow ratio. So I'm just going to decrease it even more to about right there. I love having like a darker, moodier image. That's kind of how I like to photograph my images. So the next thing I'm going to do is, now that I have my exposure kind of where I want it, I'm going to fix the temperature and I'm going to fix the tint. So I've been reading a lot that some people go with the temperature first, but I've also been reading that some people go with the tint. So let's start with the tint first. And I like a little more green in my photo, but not enough to make my subject look sick. So you can also do like the extremes of each side and kind of see where you land. So I always go like really extreme green, really extreme magenta, and then I'll kind of find my happy medium in the center. And sometimes it'll be in the same spot that where you started. So probably right about... because there's a lot of greens in here, I can kind of deal with a little more magenta. So I think I'm just going to do +3 magenta and call it good on that one. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mess with my white balance. And I like my photos a little more warmer. So we're just going to kind of bump that up just a little bit. And if you guys want to see the before and after, you can always click down on the left side of your screen at the bottom bar where it says YY, and you can already see it's made such a huge difference. I literally touched 3 things. I touched exposure, tint, and temperature. So already you're starting to get to where you want your image to be. So with that, I'm going to throw on the color from the Element Collection W03. Now that this is the thing, if you want to do your color correction first, because when you put on your preset, it's not going to mess with it. So I always like to color correct first, then throw on my preset. So I'm going to go ahead and do my click, and it's going to turn like that. And you can really see that has made a huge difference. And it just gives you like that kind of filmy, vintagey vibe, which I really like. And then you can kind of go in and tweak it to your liking. So I'm seeing that there's a lot of redness in the skin tones. So what I'm going to actually go do is I'm going to come down to where it shows like the luminance and the saturation, and I'm going to try and turn down the reds and maybe the oranges just a little bit. She already has some pretty tan skin, which is really nice. And I'm just going to turn that down just a little bit. So like I said, you can already tell this has made a huge difference. What I really like about this preset is it desaturates the greens, which I am a huge fan of. I don't know about anybody else, but I love when my greens are heavily desaturated. I mean, I could even turn it down more, but I won't. So I love how it gives you that like vintagey film look, and that's what I love about these presets, which is awesome. So we'll go ahead and move on to another photo. I really like kind of how it makes them look like they're in a different time period. I love like the vintagey, how it's turned kind of a, not so much a pink background, but more of like an orangey toned. I don't know, I just really like it. It's super pretty. Another thing that I want to do is I'm going to throw on a vignette. And what that will do is it'll help bring more of your subject to the focus point instead of kind of having everything one tonal color. What I'm going to do is down below on the effects tab in Lightroom, I'm just going to turn my vignette to the left, and already that's made a huge difference. You don't want to go really intense because then that's when you start to kind of overdo it. Remember guys, subtlety is key. It's better to go subtle than it is to do something straightforward like this. So like I said, you can always start from the most intense sides and work your way down. So what you can do is just be like, okay, I'm getting there, I'm getting there, I'm getting there, okay. I like kind of how there's like a little vignette on the side. I think it just makes the subjects pop out more. So I'm just going to leave that one there. Next, we're going to go and work on the next photo, and I can show you guys how, if you're in a situation where you're editing a ton of photos for a wedding, I can show you how to batch edit, which is actually very simple to do. So again, we're just going to do our color correcting. So I'm going to decrease, and you guys, it's all up to you if you want to increase, decrease your exposure. You honestly, you could just do a one click, you know, and have that just be your look. But for me, I like to have mine a little more kind of fine-tuned. So decreasing, give it a little more magenta. There's tons of greens, and then we can just bump up the yellow just a little bit. And then I'm going to throw on the W03. Oh, I love how this looks. I love what it does to the skin tones. It's so pretty. I'm going to bump down the orange just a little bit. Not too much, but as you can tell from where it was right there, still a little too much for me. And if you keep it there, that's totally up to you. That's totally your preference. This is just how I edit mine. And then maybe just bump up the exposure just a little bit. Perfect. I love that. And then I'm going to throw on some vignettes. We'll do it that way. So you have a couple of really cool ways that you can edit, which I really like. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a black and white edit. Now, what I love about these is really they're a one-step deal. What I'll usually do is I will kind of correct some, if I see anything that's kind of bothering me, like I see some chromatic stuff going on, what I'll do is I can bump this up, kind of get rid of that. If I see anything on the face, maybe the bride wants to get rid of some wrinkles, and I will do a retouch video as well on how I retouch in Lightroom. But you can underexpose or overexpose as much as you want. And then I'm going to use the W08, and that creates like a really pretty kind of almost sexy kind of vibe, kind of mood, which I really, really like. All right, so I was going to tell you about batch editing. So like I said it before, I'm a wedding photographer, so I have tons of images to edit. And so sometimes I don't have enough time to sit and edit one just like this every single time. So what you're going to do is, say you found kind of where you're happy at with your editing, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to click one that I'm happy with. I'm going to command, and I'm going to click all the images that I want to be in that series, okay? So say you want the reception to be all the same, you don't care about black and whites, or you can go back and change those at any time. So say I break mine up into ceremony, reception, bridal portraits, and some other things. So say one section is all lit the same, and you want to keep the same color toning and the same elements within that folder. What you can do is you can control, and sorry, I'm on a Mac, so it might be different. I think it might be command. No, maybe I'm hitting, sorry, I'm hitting command. It's something different on a PC. I'm gonna look that up for you guys, okay? And then you're gonna come over to the bottom right-hand screen where it says sync, okay? And what this is gonna do, you're gonna have a screen pop up, and it's gonna show you guys everything that you have clicked on, okay? So it's showing everything that you have done in the first photo, and it's going to do to all the rest of the photos. And what you're going to do is you're going to hit synchronize. And what that's going to do, it's going to take every single one of these photos that you did on the first photo, keep that in mind, on the first photo that you did, that you clicked on, and it's going to add it all to these ones. So it did the same settings to these, and it did the same settings to this one. Which I really like that. That's super pretty. So that is that. All right, guys, so that is the end of my video. If you have any questions, please let me know. These presets are awesome. They can be a one-click and done, or you can kind of tailor them to your own personal needs and your own style. So if you guys have any questions, please let us know, and we'll see you later for the next video. We'll see you later, guys. Bye.